Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Micah and today I am reviewing 3 Focallure Beauty eyeshadow palettes for you. I was contacted by the brand asking me if I wanted to try some of their products, and when I browsed their website I was definitely taken by some of their eyeshadow palettes, so I asked if I could receive a few of those and I was able to pick these out myself. And I've also been putting these already to the test, so I've tried every single shade in each one of these palettes by now, which means it is time to record this review and get it out there for you guys. So the palettes I have for you are the Smile, the Secret, and the Perth palette. The reason why I agreed to do this is because when I did one of my new in makeup releases, buy or buy, will I buy it kind of videos, I already featured the Smile palette by Focallure Beauty. This is a yellow toned eyeshadow palette and I was quite taken with it and said that I might want to try it. And then like a week later the brand contacted me and was like, hey, would you like to try some of our products? And this was one of the things I could pick. So I decided to go with it because of that reason. I think that if I hadn't heard of the brand before, I might have been a little bit more hesitant. So yes, I didn't pay for these with my own money, but that doesn't mean that I cannot give you an honest review, of course, because that is what we are going to be doing. So let's just get to it. So let's just talk a little bit general information first. So you can order these products in several different ways. I've been told that this brand is also available on AliExpress and websites like that, because they are definitely like a Chinese brand, so that is something that you do need to know. Focallure Beauty website is focallure.com, and that's where how I sort of looked up these palettes. On there, the palettes retail from, like most palettes, like what I found a bit weird is that like it looks like every single palette is discounted, which I'm not a big fan of when brands do that. So everything is on offer, it seems, but it's not. This is like the actual retail price, I think. So the Smile and the Perth, no, the Smile and the Secret palette are like the same size and they have 9 pans each, and those are $9.99. And the Perth palette, which has 15 shades, is $16.99. So I think that that is good to know. They do have different like palette lines as well. So they have like travel inspired palettes. That's what the Perth collection is actually. The Perth palette is from that collection. And I think also the Smile, the Secret, and like the Sunrise, Night Elf, like those 9 pans all seem to be in like a similar style. Let's start with the yellow Smile palette first. There is a little bit of information on the back of the box. I kept the boxes for this video. In total, you get 1.3 grams per pan, so 11.7 grams of product in this palette. And the pans, I do have to say, the pan sizes are a little bit small. This is what the palette looks like. It has like sunflowers on it, Smile like sunshine, and then you get 9 shades inside. You get a good size mirror, and these are cardboard packaging. They are nice and lightweight, but still sturdy enough. They close with a magnet, which is nice as well. And then inside you get the 9 shades. And as you can see, this is very yellow toned. This is the deepest it goes, and I feel that that is a bit of a downside because I think a deeper brown than this, more like a chocolate color, would have worked better to create some depth and dimension. When I did a look with this, I definitely used all the shades to do that because else it didn't really work. And the reason for that is that some of the shimmers in here are a little bit thin, a little bit sheer, and they work best if you layer them over another color. That being said, all of these shades do have good pigmentation for what they are, especially this like bright yellow shade. Let me swatch that straight away. Like it looks a little bit powdery, but then when you actually swatch it, it like for a yellow, like such a bright yellow, this works really well, and it has really nice opacity as well, I think. But then some of these shimmers, and especially a shimmer like this, is more like a pressed glitter. So with these shimmers and glitters, you do have to either use a glitter glue also to make them stick, and it is also very helpful if you layer them over one of these other shades, as I mentioned. And I felt that that went with every single one of the palettes that I have here for you today. You get 5 mattes, 4 shimmers. The mattes are really nice, but they are quite thin and powdery. Again, that goes for most of these palettes, but I was able to do a stunning look with this. So let me talk you through that. I remember putting this in the crease and then sort of blending it out with one of these lighter shades here. I think I put this, or no, this in the, on the brow bone, this in the inner corner, layered this on top, and then this, I think, or maybe this one, I put all over the lid with this and this sort of like layered as well. And then this was nice enough to really deepen out the outer V a little bit. But as I mentioned, I do feel that you need all 9 shades to really make one look. You may be able to leave out one of these shimmers, but what I like to do is like have a matte crease, but then the rest have it be shimmer. And I feel that that doesn't really work. Plus, with the dimension you get in the mattes, I feel that you need the shimmers to really make the distinction between something lighter and something a bit darker. So that would be a bit of a downside perhaps, but I don't have a lot of yellow eyeshadow, so this was a great addition to my collection. Is this the best quality I've ever worked with? Definitely not. I think it's very comparable to like drugstore quality. I think that is what this is closest to, but they definitely do some really unique color stories. And if you want to play around with something that's a little bit more fun, then for $10 you have yourself quite a nice little palette, I think. The Secret palette then is an all green palette, which is why I requested that, because you know how I feel about blues and greens and those kind of shades. It has sort of like a plant print on it. This is similar to the Smile, cardboard packaging, nice mirror in the lid. And in terms of depth, I feel that this works better than the Smile. That's definitely a little bit lighter. I also felt that the shimmers in here worked better too. It has fewer of those really chunky pressed glitters, but they're more like true shimmers. And then something like this one, Magnifique, I think it's called. This is a very thin shade, but when you layer it over some of these mattes, they do really come to life. And the Perth palette has that too, by the way. So again, these shimmers you may need to layer over other shades. When I did a look with this, I again used every single shade in the palette to make it, but I feel that this has a little bit more variety, and I could definitely do with fewer shades to make a look with this, but I just wanted to try out everything in one go, so that's why I did that. I think in terms of quality, this is very comparable to the Smile. The mattes, let me show the avocado shade here. It's very similar to that yellow shade where it is a little bit thin, a little bit powdery, but it's definitely not chalky. It still has pretty good payoff, and especially when you start blending this, these blend really, really nicely. And I was able to make a really nice look with this, I feel. And I feel that even though you only get 4 mattes and the rest is shimmer, perhaps that's why I like this a little bit more. But I feel that this also goes a little bit deeper than the yellow palette. So I feel you get a little bit more variety in the Secret palette than you do the Smile. So in terms of quality, I already mentioned that this is very similar to drugstore quality, which I think is really, really nice. Because drugstore is also has some great products, but they are quite powdery, and that is something that you do need to like and deal with. The shimmers in this, I feel, because they are less chunky than in the Smile palette, they work a lot better and they are a bit smoother, and they also apply a little bit better. So let's talk last but not least about the Perth palette, and this is also what's on my eyes today. So I used some of my favorite shades from this palette to not necessarily recreate a look I was wearing the other day, which I will also make sure to insert a picture of, but that is sort of very close to what I did at the time, but I sort of changed it up a little bit. So the Perth palette is from that travel collection that I talked about. Oh, I didn't say how much product you get in the Secret. In the Secret palette, you get a little less product than in the Smile palette. This is 11.25 grams of product, so that's 125 grams per pan. So just in case you were wondering, the Perth palette comes with 17.25 grams of product, and that's 1.15 grams per grams per pan. So you definitely like the pan sizes in these are quite small, and especially with this Perth palette, I like this is what the packaging looks like. It looks nice. Again, cardboard, mirror, the whole 9 yards, but the pan size is so tiny. These are really, really small pans, and especially with this, like I've used this purple twice and I feel I already have a dent going on. And I'm gentle with my shadows, you guys. I'm very gentle when it comes to my eyeshadow use, but with these I do feel, again, especially the shimmers, that sometimes you need to dig a little bit to really get the payoff. So that's a bit of a shame. And you can also see, I'm not sure how well, because I try to keep it very clean, but especially a shade like this and also these like mattes here, they do sort of have a lot of kick up. So your palette can get quite messy quite quickly. So that's something that you do need to know. What I'm wearing on my eyes today is this in the crease, this purple all over the lid with this and this layered on top. Especially these two layered look stunning because this has a blue tinge to it. And then paired with this blue, it looks really nice. This is another one of those chunky glittery shades that definitely needs a glitter glue to make sure they stick. If you don't use a glitter glue with something like this, it won't stick. The 3 looks I did with this were really, really nice. When I first got this, I felt it looked a little bit differently than it did on the website, but I definitely bought it because of this corner here, and I felt it looked more warm-toned in real life than it did in the pictures online. That being said, however, I definitely did a look similar to what I'm wearing today, but then I think I pulled in this blue as well, and I think... yeah, I pulled in this as well. But then what I've also done is that I sort of did a look with like going diagonally like this with that in the inner corner. And I did a look with sort of these shades here. And what I feel is that that works really well because these all have like a pinky berry undertone, and then this is, and this is more of like a peachy shade, by the way, and then this is a little bit more brown. So in terms of warm tones, it definitely does offer you a little bit of variety there. This has all the mattes that I personally would need to create several different looks. This goes really well with these cooler shades over here. The peachy shade goes nicely with the berries, and then this lighter brown goes really nicely with the brown. So I have 3 perfect crease shades that work well. This, and this are really nice colors to deepen things up in the outer V. It also gives you some nice shimmers to work with those too. So I feel that it, like, as a well-rounded palette, this works really well. Again, the powder, there is quite a lot of powder, quite a lot of kick up, as with the Smile and the Secret palette. The mattes are a little bit powdery, a little bit thin, but you can really, like, they don't swatch. Like, these are the kind of shadows that when you swatch them, you may go a bit like, will that really work? But then when you put them on your eyes, they do work really well. They blend really nicely, as you can see. The shimmers definitely in this one, especially these 3 here, they have a really nice payoff, but you do need to pack them on. And if you just do that, and then for instance layer something like this on top, again, this is very thin. Not sure if you can see that, but that's a really nice shade. And they are definitely, like, it has a really nice shine to it, so I'm very taken with that shade. But as you can see, and I think that this palette shows you a little bit better than the other 2, sort of what this brand, I think, is doing. It definitely mimics and imitates other brands. Not one for one, they are not dupes, they're not ripping people off, I don't think. But for instance, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but let me hold it a bit closer. So you can see here that they've put these little stamps in some of the shades like Jeffree Star. A shade like this, I'm not sure if you can see that very well. A shade like this, you can see that it has these like larger flecks in there, very much Huda Beauty inspired. The same with this like chunky glitter that is in there. But then in terms of like colors, ooh, that was blinding you. In terms of color story, I do think they come up with their own unique ideas. So that's nice. I have heard though that if you buy this brand through their official website, you pay more than when you get it through AliExpress, but I'm not sure how that works in the sense of whether that's then the same brand, whether you're buying the same product, or whether that's like another retailer. I have no clue. But yeah, they have a official website, so I would always recommend paying a bit more through an official website than retailers, because you never know where that stuff has been. I have to say that these 3 palettes, I'm very happy with them. They work really well, they have good quality, and I was able to pull some stunning looks out of this. Especially this Smile palette is something unique in my collection, because those yellows I didn't have yet. You know how I feel about green, so I'm happy to have another all green palette. I'm pretty sure it can play very well with the Hasina. I'm pretty sure it can work very well with the Layla 2 and the Certified palettes that I already own. And this is definitely, I hope, if I get the ColourPop monochromatic palettes, I will definitely try and get the Aha Honey and see how this compares to that, because this is my first all yellow palette, so I'm very happy with that. The Perth palette may perhaps be a little bit more generic in the sense of we've seen things like this. I think this is not the most unique color story by any means, but I feel it's a nice all-rounder, which is why I wanted to try it. And I love these like warm tones and like what you can do with this. It definitely gives you three very, at least for me, it was three very distinct looks when I tried it out. And yeah, the shadows work well enough. As I said, it's more drugstore quality there. The mattes are quite powdery. The shimmers do need some building up. So that's something that you do have to keep in mind, and then you need to decide for yourself whether you think that's worth it. I'm very happy that I was able to try these for you, because I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this brand at all. So that's why this video is now here, and I hope it was helpful for you. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make new videos 3 times a week, so I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!